One of the saddest things I hear almost every week from a different therapist is I've thought about letting my license lapse and just going into coaching solely to avoid doing paperwork. That's just how stressful the paperwork is for them. So if paperwork is that stressful for you, trust me, you are not alone, and it is something you can manage without having to become a life coach. Hi, I'm Dr. Maelisa McCaffrey, founder of the free private practice paperwork crash course, and today we are continuing our series on how mental health impacts therapists and their paperwork. And today's topic is ADHD, one of my favorites. Now, it's one of my favorites because, full disclosure, I have ADHD, I take medication, I see a psychiatrist for it. So don't think this paperwork stuff comes naturally to me either. I also have had to figure it out, and it's honestly a lifelong struggle. Okay, so how does ADHD specifically impact therapists and their paperwork? So therapists with ADHD will often have various periods of staying on top of paperwork and catching up, and then falling behind. And then they will really focus and put in work and catch up again, and then a few months later fall behind. And it's this constant cycle that happens. So it can feel very defeating. Another thing therapists with ADHD will often do is procrastinate by getting creative, creating plans, creating templates, signing up for different programs or things that are going to help them organize. Doing all the things you can to try and find that silver bullet that's going to help you get these notes done or get the other administrative tasks done. And what I often see with therapists who have ADHD is that people that they reach out to for help often can't understand why they can't just get their notes done. And even they themselves don't get it. They're like, when I sit down, I can get them done. So why can't I make myself sit down and get these notes done? So you put all these things together, and then the therapist becomes completely overwhelmed, and the task becomes this mountain task, and you just don't know where to start. So I'm going to give you your first 3 steps to tackling this issue. And then I'm also going to share a resource for you. Okay, now you can hear more about creating an actual catch-up plan and how to create a schedule in the videos that I'm going to link here, somewhere up here in our video. But basically, step 1 is create a schedule, meaning create a schedule that is for notes. You need to have time set aside in your schedule only for notes, not other admin time separate from everything else, only notes. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 is that whenever you're watching this, I want you to focus on doing this week's notes. Use that schedule. Don't worry about anything from before. Don't worry about notes from last week or last month or last year, just this week. So your goal right now is just getting this week's notes done. And what you're doing is you're kind of testing out that schedule that might work for you, and you're still getting your notes done. So I know there is a weight on your shoulders and you are thinking, but what about all those other notes behind me that need to get finished? Yes, they do need to get finished. Yes, we have a plan. However, this week, just do this week's notes. Don't keep adding to the pile. Okay, the last one is a little bonus tip, and it's a reminder because if you watched last week's video, it's the same strategy. End your sessions on time. I cannot tell you how often I say this to people and they start laughing or they make a face because they realize it is a huge contributor to not getting their notes done. And not just getting notes done. So you don't necessarily need to pressure yourself to get your notes done in between sessions, but you do need that time for a break. So stop pushing yourself to get things done in between and then feeling guilty for not doing it. Stop feeling like if you can't push through and just work and not get all of that stuff done and see 8 clients back to back that you are somehow a failure or not a good therapist. So be realistic as someone with ADHD with what you can manage. Okay, lastly, if you think you have ADHD, but you haven't actually gotten tested or seen a professional, do it. And I know it was life-changing for me. I've worked with so many other therapists where it's been life-changing for them. Medication may or may not work for you, but once you know what the problem really is, then you can examine which strategies will work best for you, and you can really start digging in there. So get the help you need to manage your ADHD, and that may be medication, and that's okay. Us therapists need help too. All right, so I promised you a resource as well. So the resource I am sharing with you today is the paperwork catch-up group. Yes, your people exist. They are all in a group. We are all there to give you accountability and support as you catch up on your notes. So the paperwork catch-up group is a weekly group we run for 14 weeks in the fall, and we are focused purely on getting you caught up on your notes. This is a hugely supportive community. You will not be alone. You will not feel shamed. You will not feel judged. And in fact, you will probably be surprised by just how many other people are struggling with the exact same thing you are. So click on the link below to check out the paperwork catch-up group. Please come join us. We would love to welcome you in the group.